Today we are going to be talking about a key move, right? It's a magic move if you like. It's a movement that exists with all athletic golfers who hit the ball a long way. And I'm just going to share it with you so that it gives you something to try and focus on if that's what your aim is. Right, the simplicity to what it is that you're trying to endeavour to hit the golf ball further, hypothetically, which is what's led you to watching this video. The point is that this movement, what it's going to do is it's going to help educate you exactly how to get a sense of holding on to what's known as the release for longer. The release is like the point when you try and hit the ball. The longer you store up energy and you release it later, the more powerful you're going to be. You know, if I was going to throw the ball, I would step, I would drive, I would throw. You know, if I kind of just threw it like this, then inevitably the first one is going to throw the ball further than the latter. Simple move is just something that you can do around the house to try and improve that sense of holding on to the release. The reason why I say it's a magic move is I think sometimes one of the things that doesn't get discussed massively and sometimes gets overlooked is the functionality of the rib cage and what is known as a lateral bend. The ability to understand this motion increases your range of motion on other patterns of movement, right? It's common knowledge that the golf swing can be an illusion depending on which angle you look at it, right? And then therefore you can kind of depict what you want from the golf swing and try and tell your own story as to what you think should happen. What I've done is I've kind of watched what the pros do and then I try and break it down to 5 or 6 movements that they all do so that we all have clarity on what you should be doing moving forward. This move that I'm talking about basically is that we swing up to the top, and what we see with most athletic golfers who hit the ball a long way is that yes, we already know they create a hip rotation that has to exist, but the guys that hold on to this energy for longer and hit the ball further will hold on to this relationship between the left arm and the shaft for longer. The way they do this is that they go into external shoulder rotation, which basically means it's the same as I did my throwing analogy, which is this angle here. Now the thing that I was trying to paint in the picture that led you here is that the more I drive my right elbow in front of my right hip, the more it creates a side bend in terms of my right shoulder drops down more. The more it gives me the ability to hold onto the angle of the shaft. And what starts to happen is that we start to materialise this triangular bit of space between the left arm and the chest and your right arm. That's kind of in essence what I'm suggesting that you could look for the next time you video your swing or you do some swings in the mirror. You kind of swing up to the top instead of just kind of dropping your arms down, is to try and get this feeling of driving the right elbow in front of the right hip. Now the question that you get is, isn't this just pushing you away from the ball? Well, not if you match it up with a hip rotation. See, if I kind of drive my right elbow forward like this and I get to this sort of point, then you'd be like, well, how am I going to hit the ball? But the point is obviously you should be clearing your lower body at the same time, which is why you end up with this bit of space like I said earlier. I think if you can kind of mirror image this position and get a feeling for it, then you're going to start to get a feeling for what it's like to hold on to power and to lag in the golf swing. This means from here, then you can start feeling like you're releasing the club later. Don't get me wrong, I'm not naive. I know that this angle is continuously losing angle, if you like, as we come down, but the feeling is that you're trying to hold it for as long as possible if you're trying to hit the ball further. That's what I'm trying to discuss in this video. The point is what starts to happen is that basically if I drive my right elbow in front of my right hip, that gets me to this position. If I now trigger a hip rotation, that gets me to this position. If I want to increase that range of motion and I want to hold on to this for longer, then what I start to do is I start to get a feeling of creating a side bend. What this basically means is now my left rib cage is starting to rise up. And this angle, I get to here, I get to here. Well, if I want to hold it, now I need to get to here. A great drill for this is the old simple one of trying to get the shoulders more vertically placed. But the point is, instead of just doing this, you're trying to get a sense as to how this feels across your rib cage. You're trying to create a stretch here to the point where you can see more curvature in your spine. But the benefit of this is, like I say, you can hold onto the leg for longer. It helps you get more of a feeling of hitting the ball more with kind of square shoulders coming into it. And generally what the bigger picture is that if you're trying to hit the ball further, this kind of has to exist as well, because it exists with all the guys that are really athletic out there. So it's a quick tip really. It's something that I've discussed before on the channel, but like I say, there's 5 or 6 things that need to happen in the golf swing, and I reiterate these points consistently to people to understand that there are only 5 or 6 things that need to happen in the golf swing, and you don't get distracted with other things. You're looking to hit the ball further, then what you can start to do is get the feeling of driving the right elbow in front of the right hip. To hold on to it for longer, then you need to incorporate a hip rotation. If you want to hold on to it for longer than that, then you need to start to understand that your rib cage also possesses and helps you create a bigger range of motion. Mess around with it. The idea is that as you're coming down, you're trying to increase this triangular piece of space here. The way you're going to do that is from the movements that I've discussed before. You know, what you can do is you can consider pressing that subscribe button. You know, that means that you'll keep up to date with all the new videos which are coming out, which is pretty much on a daily basis. It's absolutely free to do so. Just make sure you press that notification button, because that means you'll receive notifications every time a new video comes out. Absolutely free is to join us on this journey, which loads of people are taking the opportunity to as well, right? It basically means that you can send the swings into the channel. If you send the swings into the channel, basically means you can send the swings into the channel. Social media links are popping up onto the screen now, and the descriptions are in the link below. It's free. Send your swings in, I'll give you some advice, but more importantly, the whole point is that we can learn together on the YouTube channel so that you can understand how applicable this is to every level of golfer. This is what I see day in, day out, is golfers improve their game, and this is what I want for you guys as well. So send the swings in, you know what to do, and I'll catch up with you again tomorrow.